it's me again, and today I have for y'all my July book haul. Now, as I'm sure y'all have figured out by now, I took the bar in July, and I shouldn't have been reading anything other than my study material. I was bad. I read, I think, 7 books, 1 graphic novel, and half of 2 other books. Yeah. But books! The first book I read this month was Reboot by Amy Tintera. I'm not going to go into all of it again, but Amy Tintera is an Aggie, like me. Anyways, so Reboot is basically a new take on zombies, and it was a really, really good book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was exactly what I wanted. I wanted a fast-paced, dystopia, paranormal. I just wanted something that was entertaining, and this book is entertaining. I thought that the zombies were too human, and I say that so slowly because that's kind of the point, is this idea that what makes you human, and that even though they're zombies or not zombies like we think of them, even though they're reboots, they're still human because they still, yeah. Anyways, so I get that. I get that that's the point. I just thought that it was kind of like, well, of course they're still human. They seem to all have tons of emotions, including the main character, Ren. Including Ren, who is supposed to be the least emotional of them all. I just thought that she seemed very human to me. She just seemed very human to me from the very beginning. So, I don't know. I really loved the book though. It was really entertaining, and I'm looking forward to the sequel. I was going to read it right after I read Reboot, but I got caught up in other things. And the book I got caught up in, so that I didn't read Reboot, was Sweet Filthy Boy by Christina Lauren. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, that is a title. Don't let the title fool you. It's actually a really, really good book. It is new adults. It does have mature content, but it was unreal in the way that a lot of new adults books are. Like, yes, please, let me meet a French stranger in Vegas. Like, sweet, gorgeous French guy in Vegas, and let me fall in love in one night. That doesn't happen. However, that doesn't happen in real life. That doesn't happen in real life. But a lot of this book is what would happen in real life. If that were to happen. If you were to meet a cute, handsome French guy who was really sweet in Vegas and have a one-night stand and all of that, this is how it would wrap up. Like, they really did deal with life in the book after the unrealistic meet cute. Cute meet cute. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, really, really good book. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Don't let the name scare you away. Read it. Next I have Where the Stars Still Shine by Trish Dollar. We're going with Dollar. And this is a contemporary book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Basically, the girl was kidnapped by her mother when she was 4. And her mom's a little mentally unstable. So she's had a crazy life. Just a crazy moving all over the world, or country, all over the country, life. And then her mom gets caught and she has to go live with her dad, which is a really great guy. But he's been the villain in the story her entire life, and she loves her mom, and her mom's in jail, and just really, really good book. I love these kind of books. I love the psychology behind this whole, you ruined my life, but I love you. And there was romance in it, which was really sweet, and all of that. So it is a good book. 5 out of 5 stars. Yes. And next, I read my very first graphic novel, Saga, Volume 1. And I really, really enjoyed it, and I was mad at myself for only ordering the first volume and not the other 2 at the same time, because I really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And next, is a book that I'm going to insist that everyone read because it's an amazing book. And I've seen it hauled on a few other people's channels, but I haven't seen anyone read it. Like, I haven't seen anyone do a review about it, and I want to do a review because it was so, so good. And, okay, so I've told you all that I'm not a huge fan of contemporary, particularly YA contemporary. If I read contemporary, I like to read new adult. However, the reason why I tend to not like YA contemporary is because, yes, it's fluffy and swoon-worthy, and I go hee 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 while I read them, and that's great, and that's why I enjoy them when I read them, but I don't read a whole bunch because they don't stick with me. This next book is a contemporary that has a swoon-worthy romance that makes you fall in love. I don't want to show you the book yet. Fall in love with the guy. It does. It is everything a contemporary is supposed to be, but there's more. I have to show you the book now. And that is Something Real by Heather Demetrios. Demetrios? You need to know that name because this was a great, great book. Basically, this is a story about a girl who's grown up her whole life on reality television called The Baker's Dozen, and literally born on camera, and her whole life up until she was 13 on TV. Her family stopped doing the show because of an event that's not really spoilery, but just in case, I don't want to give y'all anything. But she doesn't want to do the show anymore. She hates the show. It kind of ruined her life situation, and it ruined her childhood. She doesn't want to do the show anymore, so they cancel it. And then she has remade her life, okay? She has started over. She's doing great. She's getting over the horribleness that was her childhood. Senior year of high school, her mom decides to sign them up for the show again. Without asking her, without telling her. I'm not a fan of her mother. Read the book. And it's just an amazing, amazing book because it has a swoon-worthy romance, as I said before, but it also has this like statement on reality television, which I watch reality television. I'm not hating on reality television. However, I will not be watching certain types of reality television. I don't want to badmouth any shows, so I'm not going to, because this book does personify everything bad. Everything bad reality television, and I do not want to insinuate that I think that every single producer in every single reality show is like this. And I don't want to say that every reality show parent is like this. I'm not saying that. But it makes you think. It really does. Because some are. I don't know which ones, but some are. And I'm probably going to stay away from a lot of those shows now. Just in the risk of it maybe being. And such a good book. It makes you think about all that. And for those people out there, 1984 references. The book 1984 referenced multiple times, parallels drawn, makes you think. And yes, I know I'm a horrible dystopian fan for not having ever read 1984, but this book really makes me want to read it even more than I already did. Just go read this book. It's really, really good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. If I haven't said that already, if you haven't guessed, go read this book. Go read it. Go. Now. Anyways, so next, there's this movie coming out. Y'all might have heard of it, The Giver. Well, I read that book when I was a little bitty. High school at least, if not junior high, and I love The Giver. It's my favorite classic, and I know it's a modern classic, but I call it my favorite classic. I love the book. One of my favorites of all time. Sometimes I get kind of tired with the more modern dystopians. I love dystopians, all of them. But I get really tired of them sometimes being so action-packed. That sounds really weird. But it's just this idea of that you can have a quieter dystopian book. It doesn't have to be The Hunger Games. And I love The Hunger Games. Not bad-mouthing The Hunger Games. But it doesn't have to be all that action. It can be 167 pages of incredibleness, of poignant messages, and I think it's 167 pages. Oh, sorry, 179 pages of poignant awesomeness. And yes, I realize poignant awesome. You get my point. Awesome, awesome book. I reread this in preparation for The Giver because I've seen the trailer and it looks nothing like this book. Nothing. And I just wanted, I know that having reread this especially, I knew it before I reread it, and after rereading it, rereading it, I totally get they have to change a lot. They have to add a lot. It's a really short book, and most of it is internal dialogue and journey, and so I completely get them having to change it. I have come to the conclusion, as long as they keep the message the same and they don't like spit in the face of the book, and they do a good quality job and keep the message the same, then they can change whatever they want. Let's rephrase, they can add whatever they want, and they can change most things. They can change anything they need, add whatever they want, as long as they keep the message the same and do the book justice, like do good quality film. But because I reread this, and because I'm terrified that they are going to add stuff from the rest of the Giver Quartet, I read the rest of the Giver Quartet. FYI, this is the copy I read of The Giver, but I bought myself this. You'll see it in a book haul in a little bit. Ain't it gorgeous? So I gave The Giver 5 out of 5 stars. Again. Next, I read Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry as well, the second book in the quartet, Giver Quartet. The second book in the Giver's Quartet. Now, this book is completely, purely a companion novel. Completely. Like, if you want, I mean, you need to read it if you're going to do the quartet. I'm not saying that, but don't expect a real continuation of Jonas's story in this book. You don't get it. But it's a really, really good book. It, to me, wasn't as good as The Giver. It isn't. I still gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it wasn't enough to take a star away. It wasn't that. And really, when you hold the two books up to each other, they really are perfect companions. They make their points hand in hand, and just really, really good books. Read this one too. And next I have The Messenger. Not the, just Messenger by Lois Lowry. I also gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Not quite as good as The Giver, but better than Gathering Blue. But I gave them all 5 out of 5 stars. Much more fast-paced. I'm going to do a series review. I really am when I finish the last book. Go read this one too. That's all the books that I started and finished in the month of July. However, I also started Sun by Lois Lowry, and I am on page 322. I would like to say this book is divided into 3 books, and each of those 3 books are about the size of the other 3 books. So this book is massive in comparison. It's really not a massive book. It's actually a pretty small book, but it is massive in comparison to the other 3 books. And so far, it is awesome, and I'm loving it, and like I said, it's heading towards a 5 out of 5 stars, and being my second favorite in the series, and I'm going to do a series review, so I look forward to that. I also, actually at the beginning of the month, started reading Perfected by Kate Jarvik Birch. And I put this book down not because it's not good. It is good. It's really good. I do not want to discourage anyone from not reading it, but this is along the lines of a quieter dystopian book. It reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale a lot, which it is actually compared to that in a lot of reviews. Not in the storyline necessarily, though the storyline, not that it is the same book, because the storylines have tangential storylines touch, like you can see the parallels and the premises of the books, but when I say it reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale, I mean kind of in the sense of the pacing reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale, so that it's just slower, and it's not a bad thing, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really looking forward to finishing it. I just needed something that was fast and didn't require too much thought because I was studying for the bar. So I'm hoping to finish this month. To be seen in my to be read later. So these are all the books that I have started and finished in the month of July, and I had a pretty good reading month, especially considering the bar shouldn't have had as good of a reading month. My favorite, obviously, is still The Giver, but if we're talking about favorite newly read books, Something Real. Go read it. Go read it now. But that's all I have for y'all today. Bye!